Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS unveils online tool to help low-income families register for monthly child tax credit payments. IR 2021-129, June 14th, 2021, Washington. The Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service today unveiled an online non-filer sign-up tool. There's a link to the non-filer sign-up tool here, designed to help eligible families who don't normally file tax returns register for the monthly advanced child tax credit payments scheduled to begin July 15th. So let me see if I can recap here the changes to the child tax credit up to my understanding of them. Think about the advanced child tax credit, how that fits in, and then how does this tool, the non-filer sign-up tool, fit in. So they've made changes to the 2021 child tax credit, substantial changes. Normally, those changes would not be impacting you until you file the tax return in 2022 because they were for 2021 taxes, normally not filed till April 15th, the due date of 2022. But they've also made this advanced portion of it, so they're going to be impacting us or taxpayers throughout the 2021 year. They're going to be doing this advanced strategy, which we have seen in other areas as well. So what they did basically is they increased the amount of the child tax credit, and they've also made the entire thing refundable, meaning that even if your tax liability is zero, you would get basically money back. If you were to file the tax return in 2022, you'd basically get the money back, even though your tax liability is at zero. That's kind of what the refundable is. It's not really a refund at that point, but more like a benefit program. That makes it easier for them to be able to estimate what the child tax credit will be. And I believe they're taking part of the child tax credit and making it then something that they're going to try to distribute throughout the year in 2021. So that's where the advanced portion comes into play, meaning they're going to try to actually give monthly payments of the child tax credit for 2021 early in monthly installments. And then when you file the tax return in 2022 for the 2021 taxes, you'll have to reconcile the prepayments that have been received to the actual credit, and you should still get a credit at the end of the year because I don't think they're taking the full amount as they distribute it out in a monthly way. So to do this, it's kind of like the earned income tax credit. They're going to need the prior year tax returns, 2020 or 2021, to depend on, to know the dependents, so that they can then determine whether or not or how much the credit should be, and then figure out how much to give out in the advanced payment portion. So clearly they're going to need the tax return in order to do that. And so this is similar to last year when we didn't have, some people didn't have the tax returns filed, and they're trying to give out the earned income tax credit, which basically acts in the same fashion in that it's a prepayment for the taxes, and then they're going to reconcile it with the Recovery Rebate Credit when you file the tax return. Same kind of thing here, and they actually entered or issued a non-filer tool type of thing at that point too, trying to get people that don't normally file to give them the information so that they can then give out these payments. That's where we're at with this non-filer sign-up tool as far as I can tell. This is my interpretation of it. So if you know someone or if yourself doesn't normally file a tax return, but you have these qualified children that could qualify for the child tax credit, then you'd want to notify the IRS with this tool so that they can then give the advance payments that would be received. Now note, if you do have children and you qualify for the child tax credit then and you haven't filed, then you probably may benefit from filing anyways, because there's two things you want to consider with regards to filing. One, are you required to file? And two, is it beneficial to file? So even if you're not required to file because your income is below the threshold to do so, if you have a qualifying child, then you may benefit from filing, especially now, given the fact that you've got these refundable credits that have been boosted a lot, and that includes the earned income tax credit, the child tax credit, possibly the earned income tax credit, and so on. There's other things with regards to the information from the IRS that kind of falls through the cracks. You can kind of imagine the problems that they're going to need to address as we move forward with this. One is going to be, well, what happens with the children that are born or that become dependents or whatever in the current year, 2021. You'll have to give the IRS information, you would think, in order to pick them up because they're not going to be on the prior year tax return. So maybe this tool will help to figure that out. We'll take a look at that. That's one potential problem that could be taking place. If you haven't filed 2020 tax returns and they're depending on 2019 information, you have the same kind of problem where someone might have been born in 2020 and you're going to need to give them that information in order for them to process basically the prepayments if you want it in the form of the prepayments. And also you have this income limitation kind of problem where if your income goes over a certain threshold, these credits may phase out. And so for them to determine the proper amount based on the prior year tax return can cause some problems there. So you may be able to notify them of changes in income level. So those are some things that are clearly potential issues with this advanced payment type of process. Okay, so let's go forward. This tool, an update of last year's IRS Non-filer tool, is also designed to help eligible individuals who don't normally file tax returns register for the 1,403rd round of economic impact payments, also known as stimulus checks, and claim the Recovery Rebate Credit for any amount for the first 2 rounds of economic impact payments they have missed. So that's interesting because this tool looks like they're saying it is the exact tool or a modification of the tool that was used last year for the economic impact payments that went out basically round 1 and round 2 of the economic impact payments. So when those payments went out, basically they gave this non-filer tool to try to give them that informational tool. And then when round 3 went out, they didn't put the tool out there again, which was kind of a little bit unusual because you would think they would have put the tool out there. But then the remedy they were saying was to file the 2020 tax return if you need to give the information to the IRS. It looks like now they're bringing back the tool, and clearly they're bringing it back for the new thing here, the child tax credit, and possibly it looks like for the third payment for the economic impact payment as well. So that means you can give them the information with this tool, which might be a little bit easier than actually filing the tax return for 2020. So developed in partnership with Intuit and delivered through the Free File Alliance, this tool provides a free and easy way for eligible people who don't make enough income to have an income tax return filing obligation to provide the IRS the basic information needed, name, address, and social security numbers, to figure and issue advanced child tax credit payments. Often, these are individuals and families who receive little or no income, including those experiencing homelessness and other underserved groups. This new tool is available on IRS.gov. Quote, "We have been working hard to begin delivering the monthly advanced child tax credit to millions of families with children in July," end quote, said IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick. Quote, "This new tool will help more people easily gain access to this important credit, as well as help people who don't normally file a tax return obtain an economic impact payment. We encourage people to review the details about this important new effort," end quote. The non-filer sign-up tool is for people who did not file a tax return for 2019 or 2020 and who did not use the IRS non-filer tool last year to register for economic impact payments. So notice if you're filing the tax return, then it's not really if you file 2019 or 2020, they should be able to base it on 2019 and or 2020. If you file 2019 and you're trying to give them more information for 2020, then like a new dependent in 2020 or something like that, you probably want to file the 2020 tax return if you're required to file it, because if you use the non-filer tool and file a tax return, you're probably going to confuse the IRS. And remember, you don't want to confuse don't confuse the IRS, because then like they'll slow up, everything gets messed up. So don't confuse them. So the tool enables them to provide required information about themselves, their qualified children age 17 and under, their other dependents, and their direct deposit bank information, so the IRS can quickly and easily deposit the payments directly into their checking or savings account. No action needed by most families. Eligible families who already filed or plan to file 2019 or 2020 income tax returns should not use this tool. So it's not for people that are filing taxes. It's only for people that are not filing taxes. Once the IRS processes the 2019 or 2020 tax return, the information will be used to determine eligibility and issue advance payments. Families who want to claim other tax benefits such as the Earned Income Tax Credit or low-income, moderate-income families should not use the tool and instead file a regular tax return. For them, the fastest and easiest way to file a return is the free file system, available only on IRS.gov. So I would think most people that have a qualifying children may benefit from filing the tax return, and you can get the free file tax return by this link here, or search on the IRS website for a free file, and that'll give you links to third-party software, which should give you a free option to file. So that might be something to at least look into when you're considering these two options or helping somebody to consider these two options. So public-private partnership plays vital role. Intuit developed the non-filer sign-up tool for the IRS and delivers this tool through its participation in the Free File Alliance. Intuit has a long history of working closely with the IRS on innovative solutions, including last year's non-filers Enter Payment Info Here tool. In addition, for many years, Intuit has offered free file fillable forms, also delivered through the Free File Alliance. The Free File Alliance. So this is the electronic version of IRS paper forms, which provides all taxpayers with the option to electronically file for free. There are no income restrictions for using this option to file a 2020 tax return. So note, Intuit is a for-profit company, and they do QuickBooks and they do TurboTax, I believe. So that's interesting. So watch out for scams. The IRS urges everyone to be on the lookout for scams related to both advanced child tax credit payments and the economic impact payments. The IRS emphasizes that the only way to get either of these benefits is by either filing a tax return with the IRS or registering online through the non-filer sign-up tool exclusively on IRS.gov. Any other option is a scam. So obviously the IRS is spitting out money like crazy, new tools and new stuff. So that means that scammers out there will start scamming, and we got to be careful of the scammers because there's a lot of new stuff, and that's confusing, and that gives them an opportunity. So be careful of that. Help people out to see the scams that could be coming through, or surely will be. So watch out for scams using email, phone calls, and texts related to the payments. Be careful and cautious. The IRS never sends unsolicited electronic communications asking anyone to open attachments or visit a non-government website. So clearly, if anybody gets something from the IRS, like in an email typically, or a text for sure, certainly not in a Facebook or Face post or whatever post either, that shouldn't happen. Normally, the IRS certainly isn't going to have people linked to some website, especially one that's not a .gov website, which would indicate a government website. And usually they contact people primarily by mail. So any kind of thing that's not by mail, you'd be somewhat suspicious of. And if you suspect that it might be spam, or you got it in some of these formats, then you might want to check the IRS website directly if it's related to your account, instead of using any kind of links from any email or text or face post or whatever. So other tools coming soon. The IRS has created special advanced child tax credit 2021 page at irs.gov/child tax credit 2021. So it's got its own page now, this advanced child tax credit, and it probably needs its own website because, I mean, it's kind of confusing. So they could probably, you could probably fill a lot of room, answering questions on it. But anyway, it's designed to provide the most up-to-date information about the credit and the advance payments. The page already features a link to the non-filer sign-up tool. In the next few weeks, it will also feature other useful new tools, including an interactive child tax credit eligibility assistance to help families determine whether they qualify for the advanced child tax credit payments. Another tool, the Child Tax Credit Update Portal, which initially enable anyone who has been determined to be eligible for advance payments to see that they are eligible and enroll or opt out of the advance payment program. Whew. So that means that you might be eligible for it, in which case the IRS would most likely just start sending out checks to whatever, the last payment was or something like that, because you're going to get these advance payments, you would think, because you're eligible for them. But maybe you don't want them for some reason. Possibly you're moving around, or you don't want them sent into the last address that you have with the IRS or something like that, or you just want to get a big refund or have it be part of your estimated tax payments or something, lowering the taxes when you file the tax return. So you may want to then opt out in that situation. So you might be able to use the tool to opt out. It's also kind of confusing. It might be a little bit easier to do your taxes in 2022 for the year 2021 if you don't have the payments, because if you have the payments, you know what's going to happen here. We're going to file the tax return. In order to file the tax return, we're going to have to figure out what the credit should be based on the actual information for 2021, and then we're going to have to determine how many payments you actually got in advance, and we might have to go to your actual account in order to double check to make sure how many payments were actually gotten, and then compare those two to see what the credit will be for 2021 when you file the tax return. Little confusing, not too difficult, but kind of a problem. So you could avoid that and make it easier by opting out possibly and just get the money later. So later, it will allow people to check on the status of their payments, make updates to their information, and be available in Spanish as well. Community partners can help. The IRS urges community groups, nonprofits, associations, education organizations, and anyone else with connections to people with children to share this critical information about the advanced child tax credit as well as other important benefits. The IRS will provide additional materials and information in the near future that can be easily shared by social media, email, and other methods. About the advanced child tax credit. The expanded and newly advanced child tax credit was authorized by the American Rescue Plan enacted in March. Normally, the IRS will calculate the payment based on a person's 2020 tax return, including those who use the non-filer sign-up tool. If that return is not available because it was not yet been filed or it is still being processed, the IRS will instead determine the initial payment amounts using the 2019 return or the information entered using the non-filer tool that was available in 2020. So in other words, it's connected to 2021. They need to give the advance payment, so they have to depend on the prior year tax return, which would either be 2020 or 2019 if 2020 wasn't available. And if those weren't there and you have the non-filer tool, or the non-filer tool fits in there somewhere as well if 2020 and or 2019 wasn't filed. So the payment will be up to $300 per month for each child under age 6 and up to $250 per month for each child age 6 through 17. So calculating it gets a little bit confusing because you can calculate it in aggregate, meaning what would the child tax credit be if you didn't get any advance payments, but just calculated it for the 2021 tax return that you would file in 2022, meaning they increased the child tax credit. It's like $2,000. Now they increased it to how much per child or whatnot. And there's a 2-tier threshold for it. And we have people that are going to be age under 6, which is different. And then a different amount for the ages 6 through 17. And you could look at it in aggregate. And you can also look at the prepayment portion, which basically means they take that credit and they take part of it and allocate it over the part of the year as a monthly payment. And when we look at it on a prepayment check-by-check portion, we can break it out per child and by age bracket with those 2 tiers. We have the $300 per month for each child under age 6 and $250 for each child under age or between age 6 and 17. Okay, to make sure families have easy access to their money, the IRS will issue these payments by direct deposit as long as correct banking information has previously been provided to the IRS. Otherwise, people should watch their mail around July 15th for their mailed payments. The details for the advanced child tax credit payments are July 15th, August 13th, September 15th, October 15th, November 15th, and December 15th. So that's the schedule. So for more information, you can visit IRS.gov/child tax credit 2021 or read FAQs, frequently asked questions on the 2021 child tax credit and advanced child tax credit payments. There's a link to those 2 items here, as well as links to everything else that we said there was a link to, and there'll be a link to this in the description.